So, pianos are big, heavy things and difficult to move. They also can be very temperamental. They are stringed instruments, and so they have all of these strings under tension, held by pegs, and the pegs are set in wood. And what can happen is that the tension on the peg can unwind, tension of the string on the peg can unwind it a little bit, and so it tends to go out of tune. And when you move a piano, it tends to go out of tune because that's extra vibration. And so if you take a piano and you move it around, there's a chance that it will slowly untune. And proper care of a piano usually means getting it tuned every few years. If you're serious about it, every year, maybe even more often. Which is involves somebody who is talented and skilled, often with usually with tuning forks and sometimes with mechanical analyzers and such. And so it's like play a note, turn the peg, turn the peg, turn the peg. And pianos are tuned differently than many other string instruments. A lot of string instruments are tuned on thirds. So you set one string to a particular value. A is usually used. So you tune one string to A, and then you tune the next string above it to C, which is a third. And so you can easily do that by saying, you can take a third of the note. And that's one of these things that just kind of sounds clear. So you tune one thing, and then you tune the next one based off of that. And then you tune the next one based off of that one, and then you tune the next one based off of that. So you have this sort of thing. But the problem is that when you go by octaves, which are eighths, because a piano has 8 keys, or there's 8 notes in the standard set. You have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then it starts over again. And the problem is that if you go a third, a third, a third, a third, a third, the threes and the twos don't line, or the threes and the eights don't line up. So you get close-ish, but the thing is that you have this sort of abrupt jump. Now, pianos are tuned differently because those are tuned on even eighths. So if you have a piano and a violin and you play a G on the piano, the G on the violin is going to be way off of the G on the instrument because you have all of these different little errors adding up. So, and there was a piece of music called the Well Tempered Clavier. Clavier is the German word for piano, and well tempered means well tuned. And what was special about this piece of music is that it was done in every key. So you have it done in the key of C, you have it done in the key of C sharp, you have it done in D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B flat. Um, Now notes you typically some notes are typically referred to by sharps or flats. The first letter, or actually, I guess it would have been D or E flat rather than D sharp because E flat is more common than. Anyway, when you play scales of a note, um, you have 8 white keys, or you have 7 white keys that make up the octave, and then you have an extra one that's exactly half the length down. But anyway, you have 7 white keys, and then you have 5 black keys. So you have, it's referred to as a whole tone or a half tone going between the keys. And so you have a half tone from C to C sharp, another half tone down to D, half tone up to E flat, or D sharp. And that's something else about violins and other instruments, is that A sharp is not necessarily a B flat. And that's where those things come in, because if you go a half step above an A, it's different than going the step below the B because of these not quite lining ups. And it's a really intricate thing that I only, it's at like the limits of my musical knowledge of this is what happens and this is why it happens. Honestly, I wish I'd paid more attention to music, done more music. It's a very good way to pass the time of playing. It's very relaxing. It's very centering. So pick up an instrument. Instruments are good for you.